As a kid, I loved monsters. Monster Rancher was a favorite alongside Digimon and, of course, Pokemon. And while it never reached anything close to Pokemon in terms of popularity, Digimon has been a consistently entertaining franchise in its entries. The PS4 alone has had Digimon Story, a Persona-ish RPG, and Digimon World, a 3D pet similar. Digimon Survive is the latest entry in the franchise. Has it digivolved alongside its contemporaries? Let's get to munching and find out. Digimon Survive is an RPG that feels like two distinct games in one. Both halves tend to make up most RPGs, the story and the gameplay. However, Digimon Survive, while both parts, it does both effectively and serviceably without reinventing the wheel. The visual novel end of Digimon Survive is varied by the numbers. You have 3 options per interaction, which generally end up being up, left, and right, which correspond with one of the 3 routes and determine which evolution your Agumon gets. You also have your allies, who you can talk to and max out their affection if you gain the right options, which leads to some evolutions down the line. There's also not a lot to say on the strategy RPG end. If Tactics Ogre is the crown jewel of strategy RPGs, Digimon Survive isn't on the crown, but definitely one of the replacement jewels. You can talk to monsters so that they can join you, train them with items, evolve them, and catch them all. Wait, that's a completely different monster game. Every strategy RPG battle here has a few Digimon to kill, either the main boss or everyone on the map. Your monsters, whether they be the ones you've raised or the main cast, move along a grid and use attacks to defeat the other guys. Depending on where you are in the story, your monster may digivolve to higher levels to deal with higher level monsters, and these evolutions also correspond to which route you take. On the first go through of the game, combat is rather slow, plodding, and you may have some challenges, but future playthroughs are made slightly easier from the fact that you can use your Mega level Digimon from the very start. However, since this is a visual novel, I do have to put more onus on the story than the gameplay. The story reminds me of Season 1 of Digimon, which, again, I grew up with. You have these kids called the Digidestined that are sent through a portal that go to the Digiworld and get some Digimon, namely a hero with goggles and an Agumon. They have to fight to get back to the real world, and that's Season 1 of Digimon. However, this game has a more mature writer behind it compared to your average Saturday morning cartoon, as there are 4 routes within the game, and in about 2 of them, half the cast is going to be literally dead before the end of it. There are 4 routes to go through. One of them is a more heroic route to go through, and the last one is what they call the truthful route, which every visual novel seems to have. In my playthrough, I went through all 4 routes and got all the evolutions and saw everything I could. The best thing about Digimon Survive has to be the Digivolution sequences. The game doesn't have a very high budget to work with, but there's something still awe-inspiring about those visuals and the dramatic musical sting when it kicks in. It's glorious. The worst thing about Digimon Survive is replaying it. One playthrough equates to about 12 chapters, so replaying a route means 8 of those chapters are going to be the same repetitive content. To make matters slightly worse, the content that's slightly different is just slightly altered dialogue that doesn't make any difference one way or the other. Even if you have Wargreymon plowing through everything, it's still 8 chapters you have to slog through. Not fun. Alright, and by the numbers, we had 4 routes. We had 4 stages of evolution per Digimon. We did 49 chapters in total from those 4 routes. We had 10 party Digimon by the end of our game with the Truco route, but we only had 1 Omegamon. Alright, until next time, I'm Quartermuncher with Quartermuncher Theater and the Quartermuncher Experience, and I'll see you next time.